Hello, good evening, everybody. Hello, hi, this is Christine Crowle here. I'm the founder of the group, and I just want to say happy Friday to you all. I hope everyone is doing well. Wow, it's Friday already, it's the end of the week, and my team, can you please reach out to me and let me know that you can hear me clearly? Can you hear me? Let me know that you can hear me. Comment in the chat. Yay, we are live. Excellent, excellent, wonderful. So happy Friday, everyone. I am just over the moon that you're here for day 2. I'm very honored that you've been listening to the trainings, and I want you to be able to use the trainings so that it's going to impact you in a powerful way so that you are the leader in your field. That's what I want. So today, basically, we're going to have a fireside chat. I'm going to just talk to you. I've got some notes here. I'm going to talk to you because, at the end of the day, I want to really talk to you about a story. I'll start with a story first. Now, we all know there's always a story in every challenge and that's been overcome, isn't there? What is your story? What is your story? I'll tell you about my story. And it started in 1994 when I realized that there was a need for care for example, in the way that it was for small care homes. I could see that there was service users being not pushed but being forced to go into a care home that they didn't want to go into. And these care homes back then, they were large, very, very large. And for me, I saw that there was a need in that community. Now, this community was in Nottingham. It was a very large estate. It was Strelly Estate. If anyone is from Nottingham, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I realized that there was a need for smaller home from home types of care homes rather than the larger homes or the council run homes. So I set out on a venture to improve and make service users feel as if they're still at home. They were already living in that community. So you can imagine how they must have felt having to come to the stage in their life where they needed care. Imagine how they must have felt that they would have to leave their home to go into a large care home, for example, and there wasn't any other care homes apart from the large care homes or the council run care homes. Now imagine how you would feel. I felt that for them because my uncle at the time had mental health and he needed to go into a care home. So I looked around for him and I couldn't find a care home that specialized in African Caribbean food, because I asked one care home, hey, can you do, he likes rice and peas, for example. And one of the carers said, oh yes, I can do rice with garden peas. That made me realize that they didn't cater for African Caribbean. So that's why I set out on this quest. That was my quest. It started, my care journey really started back then in 1993. It started back then. And I thought, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be something out there for my uncle. So I thought to myself, you know what? Why don't you set up your own care home and make it for African Caribbean? Sorry, I just got a message on my thing here where it says close unused applications. I don't know what that is talking about, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. So I set out on this quest to open up my own care home, and it was a home from home approach that I wanted. I found a property which was right opposite where I lived, and it was a 4-bed property in Strelly, and it also had a ramp because the individual who lived there previously had a disability, and they needed wheelchair access, so there was a ramp. There was a downstairs bedroom with a bathroom. It was purpose built, really. It was a house that had been renovated to accommodate someone with disability, physical disability. So I set out on this quest, and I saw this property, and I was like, I'm in a council house. I just bought my council house, for example. Back then, it was the Maggie Thatcher era where you could buy your own council house with a very small deposit. So I did that. And I then looked at this property which was opposite me. And I thought, there I was looking at all of these big, large care homes, and I was like, Christine, why don't you set up your own care home? And I was like, I spoke to myself, so, it's like God was speaking to me, set one up, you do it. And I was like, I can't. How can I do that? I don't know how to do it. I don't think I can do a care home for 3 people, for example. But I had faith. So I did my research. I then bought the property. As I was buying the property, I was informing the social services, letting them know that that's what I was doing, because I know that there was a need, because I inquired. First of all, I was asking all the different care homes, looking at what they were doing, looking at their strengths, looking at their weaknesses. And then I thought, you know what? How would I feel? How would I feel if I needed to go into a care home? Where would I want to be? I'd want to still be in my community, right? First of all. Then secondly, I'd want to be in a small place. So I set out on this quest to set up my own care home. And I did this I bought the property, and that was very quick. It was within 8 weeks. And then I applied with the Nottingham County Council, and I got registered. I knew that I was going to pass my registration, and the registration was for 2 hours. It was very similar to CQC back then. It was like a voluntary registration, but I wanted to be registered so that I met all of the guidelines and I knew I was following things correctly. So I set out on the quest, like I said, and I got registered with Nottingham County Council. I'd already, before I actually had my inspection, I arranged for social workers to come and visit the care home the following day. Can you hear me okay, everyone? Team members, can you please let me know that you can hear me fine? Because my mic is from a distance. Excellent, so you can hear me good. Good, I'm glad. So I set on this quest, right? So my inspection was for about 2-3 hours long, but I knew my onions, right? I'll basically say it in that way. I knew it. I knew I was going to pass because I did my research. I knew what the weaknesses was. I did my policies and procedures. I had them all ready for when they came to inspect. Everything was ready. I knew every angle. Don't ask me how I knew, because how I knew is that I studied. I created my own policies. I then studied. And then I passed my inspection. So then I passed my inspection, but I was so confident that I would pass that I invited the social workers to come the following day. The following day. Before I even knew that I would pass. So they came the following day. Well, first of all, I ran home to my husband and the kids, and I was like, I've passed. Like this. I was like, wow, really excited. And I'm like, oh, social workers are coming tomorrow. Excellent, great. So they came, and they were there for another, about 2 hours. We were sitting, talking. There was 3 social workers, 3. Just drink my water. 3 social workers came. They were there for a couple of hours. Again, I showed them around. I told them what I was doing, and these are my policies and procedures, and who my clients were specifically for. And guess what? That day that they came round, they were like, okay, well, yeah, I can definitely give you some clients. So they were like, how many do you want? And I was like, well, as many as you can give me. So they were like, well, one person was like, well, I can give you 3. And I was like, oh, excellent. And the other social workers were like, hold up a minute, hang on. I've got a client that I can recommend to you as well. In the end, it was me. I was bargaining with them, saying, look, I tell you what, I will take 1 off of each one of you, because it was 3 social workers, right? This is real story that I'm telling you, okay? And that same day, they said, what time should we bring them round? Because they're waiting, they're not happy where they are, blah, blah, blah. So I said, 6 o'clock, is that okay? And they're like, yeah, of course, yeah, we'll bring them at 6 o'clock. So out they went out the door. I'm in the house, and I'm like, screaming like, I can't believe it. So I ran across, when I literally say, I opened my gate and I ran across to my house and opened the other gate, because the house, they were about, I'd say about 12 foot. The gates were 12 foot apart. So one house was on one side and one house was on the other, and then there's this walk path, right? So as I came out the gate, I ran into my gate right opposite. My house was right opposite. I picked a good location, right opposite, ran in the house, and I was like, I passed. They're bringing clients to me tonight. I showed them my DBS and CRB back then, you know how it was back then. And I was like, oh, I'm the only person. I'm the only staff. 1 staff. And I was like, oh my goodness. Right, so I'm going to have to be over there at 6. I need to get the food in. I need to be prepared. And I've got to start now looking for staff members. And you know, back then it wasn't easy. So when you did your CRB, you had to send it off. And it would take like 2 weeks, sometimes even 4 weeks to come back. Right? Because it wasn't this online stuff back then. You know, you fill out the form, send it off, post it, you know. So I was in this property for about 4 weeks without no staff. I was working day and night. Thank God that they slept at night. But, you know, you can imagine. I used to wave at my family and children, you know, through the window and go, hi, like that. And they'd wave and they'd come up to the house and, you know, they'd say hi, they'd come in, you know, that type of thing. But that's how it was. But we were so happy, because from that one property, we got 156,000 a year Did you hear me? 156,000 a year. So from there, what I did was I then turned the house that we lived into, that we were living in, into a care home as well. This is on a council estate. A council estate. Not a suburban or, you know, a very posh area. It was actually on a council estate. And the properties were ex-council houses. But the community was large. It was a large council estate. Huge. So I did just have that council estate in Australia. There was also Broxtowe. There was also Aspley. There was Woollerton. There was all these Beeston. There was all these different estates that were close to where we were. So I also had that community where the house was that got full straight away, because the residents, the service users, they actually lived on the estate and they needed to be placed in care, but they didn't want to go into a large home. Apart from one of them was already in a large home and she wanted to come out because she wanted to be in the place that she brought her family up. Her family was living on that estate as well. So can you imagine the joy I felt by providing organic food, organic vegetables? I even had a sign on the grass, on the lawn, a big sign. Let me just drink my water. I want to tell you this story to give you encouragement, because, you know, things don't just happen. You got to make it work. So I had a big sign on the lawn and it said Helston Rest Home. It was a really big sign, right? And it was gold plate, and then it was in black writing, and it said Helston Rest Home. People, when I first set that up before the residents came in, people were laughing. They were like, "What do you think you are, you know, doing this on a council estate? Are you mad? No one's going to come there." They did. They came running there. And in the end, like I said, people were knocking on the door saying, "Do you have any vacancies? Do you have any, you know, I've got my uncle or my auntie," for example. So on one side it was women, and on the other house, the one that was our house that I turned into a care home immediately, for example, because that one was full, I then made it for men. So I had two care homes right opposite each other. And then I lived just down. I had to rent a property because it was so fast. So we rented a property. So we're still on the estate, and it was beautiful. It was peaceful. Everyone got on. It was a home from home approach. So you can imagine the joy on the family's faces that their mother or their father still lived on the estate, that they didn't feel this separation, that she's gone into or he's gone into this big care home, that they feel like a needle in a haystack. This was, they felt that they were still part of the community, because they would sit in the lounge and then they'd see their friends or a neighbour that they used to know, or someone's child. They go, "Oh yeah, I know them." They still would carry on. I had a security screen up, and they were more interested in watching the security screen with people walking outside, etc., than watching TV. Can you imagine? So I got this, you know, it was set up lovely. They had organic food, vegetables, everything was fresh. The butchers would come and deliver. There was no Tesco's non-brand. It was good organic food. It was high quality. And then we would have some respites as well. So we had a few clients that were paying privately as well. So this is again the 2% method that really works well as well. Don't just jump for the ordinary. Be extraordinary. Think outside of the box. Because if you don't, then you will be the ordinary person. I always see here where I live, for example, I always see this hawk. And this hawk is always up high in the sky. Like really up high. Like really observing what's going on the ground. So I call this hawk my CEO. Because he's like my coach. Because I learn from that bird, who is a hawk, how that hawk operates. And we should be like that hawk, where we are looking to see what is needed and what is the best opportunities for us to find. And then when we find that opportunity, we go and get it. Like I saw an opportunity. Yeah, I was the hawk and I saw what was happening. I could see that there was a need. And I'm pushing this on you because it is there. You just got to look for what that need is. Talk to your community. Find out. They will tell you. I'm not saying don't talk to social services and the integrated care boards, for example, or the government organizations, social workers. You talk to all of them. But you must also talk to those that use you, that will want to that need your services. So talk to your community. I hope that's, ringing some bells for you, understanding where I'm coming from, because I wanted to tell you that story. And from that story, from my quest to find a place for my uncle at the time who had schizophrenia, he needed somewhere safe that was going to be familiar. And I could see that there was a gap, and I filled that gap. And then they wanted to send me more people, and more, and more. So I then went into supported living. I then went into children's home. I then went into, I went into about 10 healthcare, multiple income streams, home care. I had a nursing agency where I was providing nurses in the community. I was registered with Seasky. Well, first it was the Nottingham County Council, then it was Seasky, then it became CQC. Yeah, so, I've been around, I've been doing care for like 20 years before I became a coach and a mentor, okay? Because I wanted to understand all of these things and how it works. Because when I got my care home, I spoke with my bank manager and I said, I keep getting people where they're asking, how do you do that? And I'm telling them. And he said, well, Christine, you should be charging. I was like, really? And he said, yeah. I said, how much do you think I should charge then? And this is my bank manager back then. He said £250 an hour. I was like, wow, okay. And that's where my journey began. Because when I went home, I said to my husband of 28 years, he's now passed, I said to Dave, I said, look, the bank manager said I could be a good coach or offer consultancy. And my husband turned around and he said, how can you be a consultant when you haven't gone through all of this? You've only just started. So I was like, you know what, fair enough, I understand actually. I do need to know how it works fully, not just the beginning stages, just all of the stages. So I wanted to, have this fireside chat with you just to give you some inspiration, because if I can do it from a mother who was homeless with a 6-week-old baby, then anything is possible. Anything is possible. Okay? So I just wanted to reach out to you and tell you my story, my quest, and look at Colonel Sanders, Kentucky Fried Chicken. If he did not go and knock on people's doors, for a long time, it took him 1009 no's before he got a yes. Imagine if he would have given up. And look, Kentucky Fried Chicken is worldwide. Everyone knows it. Wherever you go, there's always a Kentucky Fried Chicken. And he started off in America, for example. So always see your quest as achievable, but only you can make it happen. Just like I say to you about the 2% method, then there's a small percentage that will make this work, because if it is inside of you, if it's deep inside of you, you're going to make it happen. No matter what, you will make it happen. But you've got to be hungry to learn. You've got to look at least putting in 2 to 4 hours a week. Into learning what it is that you want to learn. And I want to say to you, let's look at working less. Working smarter, not harder. Let's get out of that rut that we've been in, that we think it's great because we're working hard, and oh, look, I've got this money in the bank and I can't spend it because I'm working hard. That's no good. You don't want to save for, it's okay to save for a rainy day, but you got to put in some actions in order to get what you want. And I'm trying to talk to you about this method because you can do this method for a very small amount of money, but you got to put the work in. I can't force you. I can't push you. You got to push yourself, because if you can't push yourself, then no one can push you. Only you can make it happen. Okay? So there's, for example, there's 3 levels. To me, 3 levels. I'm a coach, I'm a consultant, and I'm a mentor. I'm all 3. So if someone wants coaching, I can offer them coaching. If someone wants consultancy, I can offer consultancy. If someone wants mentorship, I can offer mentorship. Because I've been a mentor and a coach and a consultant for 10 years. But I've also run my own businesses for 20 years. And I'll tell you something, what I see when people have got to the level of where they want to be in their healthcare business is because they've put in the work. We've provided the foundations, but they've, leaped from that springboard. Like when you're swimming and you go up the diving board. Do you remember those days when you're on, when you're walking up the stairs, when you're about to do this massive dive into the swimming pool at the swimming baths? Do you remember that fear when you're standing on the edge and you're thinking, shall I go? Ooh, no. Shall I go? No, I'm not ready. And then you look at it and then you're like, just do it. And then you dive and you make that dive and Sometimes some people do a belly flop, you know, can't help it, I suppose. But you do that dive. But how do you feel after that? You feel, wow, I can do anything. I can do anything. And like when I was at Tony Robbins' event, Unleash the Power Within, there was 10,000 people at this event in London in 2017. I just lost my husband of 28 years and my mother. They both died on the same day, February the 4th, 2017. It was April when I went to the event. I went with my son because I needed some inspiration, because me and my husband, I'm remarried, just to let you know, happily married, but me and my husband, my late husband back then, we used to listen to Tony Robbins, we used to listen to their tapes, we used to listen to the videos, we used to listen to Brian Tracy, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Stephen Covey. We used to listen to everybody for inspiration. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go. So I went to Tony Robbins' event and I walked on the coals, the hot coals. Do you ever, I don't know if any of you have been to a Tony Robbins event where you walk on hot coals. And I was frightened. But when we were going up to this, the coals that were on fire, that they kept lighting up, and you know, it just, you just see it was hot. It was going to be hot. So we were going up there. We're like, yes, 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 yes. That's how we was walking up to these coals, right? Then in the end, I got there, and Tony Robbins was like, yes, you can do this. You can do this. Just walk. Don't look down. Just walk straight ahead. And just keep saying, yes, yes. So I did it. I walked on these coals and I was like, yes, yes, yes. And then suddenly I was off the coals. I was like, oh, because obviously they told you to put your feet on something wet. I think it's wet grass, I can't remember. Or they had a hose there. However, I felt so empowered. I felt, if I can do that, I can do anything. And I'm talking to you today from my chair, and I'm saying to you that let's get motivated. Don't be, I know you're going to be frightened, and I was frightened too. I was scared. I was thinking, what if it doesn't work? People are going to laugh at me. Well, they were laughing at me anyway before I even started, because they thought, she's just bought this house, she's going to turn it into a 4-bedded care home on a council estate. How is this one going to work? And you know what? I felt so good that I was able to help the community. That's what made me, that's what pushed me. That's what the fire was in my belly, was to achieve that, so that it would help the community stay together. Do you get me? They stayed together. The family could come whenever they wanted. You know, they would come visit their relatives, they would have dinner with them, they would even help with cleaning their room. You know, the residents, some of them were cooking as well. You know, it was amazing. It was a beautiful experience. And that was the 2% model. It wasn't stressful. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was a pleasure to go to work. Isn't that how you want to feel? And by doing these 2% methods, then boy, they will want to use your service. You got to look at selling your offers that is going to be irresistible, that people are going to want to use your service because you know what the community needs. So then you can ask for a higher premium. You can ask for a higher premium because of what you offer. And especially if you are looking at healthcare professionals that are in great demand. And when I say great demand, I don't mean, like the average Joe Blogs agency or recruitment agency, for example. I'm talking about offering specialized services where you stand out in the crowd. So step outside of who you are. I want to prepare you to challenge yourself, because you're the only one that can make this happen. I can't make this happen for you. I can tell you about what you can do to make a change and show you some of the things that I've done. And boy, oh boy, I've been through a lot. But I want to teach, as 2024, I want to teach people the 2% method, where we're not working hard, we're working smarter. You see, there's young people out there today, they're working smart, and they're earning millions and millions and billions. And no, it's not about, the money is good, yes, because we want to have a better lifestyle, but it's about helping one another, helping the community, supporting the community. You will be the strongest person, the strongest business owner if you support your community. So stretch your leadership. You've got to have a game plan, but you've also got to have no excuses. You can't have excuses in this game. If you want to succeed, you can't be giving yourself excuses not to do something. The community needs you, because when you do something for the community, you will feel better inside as well, because it's not about the money, it's about how you can serve. So we've got, there's different levels, really. There's different levels, and with the Sell Your Offer Challenge, which is called Sales to Care, for example, that is to get you, the business owner, to learn about how to sell your products and services. And we will help you create your products and services that you're going to offer. We will help you with the research as well, so that you're looking at the premium service that you want to offer to clients. So whether you want to earn 10,000 a month, for example, whether you want to be at level 1, whether you want to be at level 2, where you're offering your services, your premium services, and you're offering a product, for example, i.e. training to your community or to an organization, for example, that helps the service users that you want to serve, like a community center or sheltered housing, for example, then that takes you to level 2. Then you can also then go into level 3, where you become the leader, where you become the specialist, premium high supplier. We teach you all of that in our boot camp. Then we'll help you put your system together, your offer together, so that we're really looking at you getting a 6-figure business. I'm going to say 6-figure, because I'm not going to say multiple 7 figures, because although it's achievable, you have to be a certain you have to have a certain mindset to be able to achieve that goal. Depends how hungry you are. If you're hungry enough, like I was, I started from having nothing to creating a multiple seven-figure business. So you can do that too. And it doesn't cost a fortune. You start with something that's not going to cost you a fortune. I don't want you going out there getting some, posh office. Work from home. Do this from home. Then there's the level 5. So it all depends which level you want to offer. And I always say you start with one product first, then really you want to go into 5. But this all takes time, and you have to master one thing first. And I wanted to, really say that to you today, is to look at serving. That's how you're going to help yourself. And you'll take yourself to the next level. So I hope that you can join me for our 5-day boot camp. The price at the moment is $97 for the 5-day boot camp that I talked about in the previous 2 days. The sell your offers is at $197, that is $197. My team are going to put a link in the chat as well for those of you that want to apply. Okay, because I'm only going to work with a few number of clients. I want to make sure that this is right for you, and I want to also make sure it's right for us as well. This is one of the first things that we're doing for 2024. This is something which is new as well. It's a new product, but I also know it works because I've done it and some of my clients have done it as well. So I hope that you'll be able to join us. It will start at the end of the month. We're in March now. Happy March the 1st. We used to say back then, pinch punch, 1st of the month, for example, but happy March the 1st. So I also want to know whether you're watching the live or whether you're watching the replay, and whether this is something that you want to do, whether it's something you want to look into doing. So this is an application stage at the moment, because we've only got a limited number of spots. We're getting inquiries this week actually, but I also wanted to let you know that the price is $197, and after 7 days the price will go up because of what we offer. You're getting the 5-day boot camp, okay? You're also getting the Sell Your Offer Challenge as well. And the Sell Your Offer Challenge, that also is for 5 days. So 1 week it is the Horizon, if you want to do Living Beyond the Horizon product. And then the following week after that is the Sell Your Offer, which is sales to care. That's the product. It's a mastermind, and I hope that you can join us. All that I ask is that you give yourself 2 to 4 hours a week, so that when you do the learning, that you can actually implement afterwards as well. You can use your time wisely, whether you do it in the morning or whether you do this in the evening. But I want you to think about your offers. What type of offers do you want to offer to your community? I want to know if any of you have started making notes of who is your ideal candidates. your contractors, your staff members, who are they? What level of service will you provide? Because that's important, to look at the 2% model, looking at you getting the higher margin, because you have to. We're in 2024 now. You don't have to be like everybody else that's running a busy multiple 7-figure agency, but their margins are low. Does that make sense? I've done it. I've been there. Don't get me wrong. I was doing it as well. But now, looking back, 2024, I wouldn't do that now. I would do the higher model, and I would take my time, and I would really do the research of the candidates that are hard to get, which is, like I said, the people like neurosurgeons, doctors, the high level where the margin is high. That way the staff members are being paid a good rate, but you're also being paid a good rate. Your margin, your profitability takes you into multiple 7 figures in a short space of time. You can collapse time by doing that, rather than looking at the lower value contracts where you're getting, say, £3, £4, £5 an hour. But that £5 an hour that you're getting, do you know how many £5 that you have to earn £1 million? And I'm talking about profitability. So if you are able to, for example, you're getting profitability of, say, between 40 to 300, 400 pounds per hour, isn't that a lot better than the £5 an hour? I'll just do a quick calculation here, just to bring your mind into, the real process of it, right? And I've done it. I'm not saying, that it's not profitable, but the margins are small, and you have to do a lot of work to get to multiple 7 figures. So for example, if I'm doing, say, 20,000 a week, right? Let's divide that into £5. You've got to do like 4,000 hours times 5. Yeah, 4,000 hours a week. Now, if you was doing, so I'm going to do 20,000 a week, divide that by your 20,000 a week, divide by, if you're getting a profit margin of, say, £90, right? That's 222 hours a week. 222 times 97, margin profit is 21,534. So you can find high margin profitability for agency, for example. Let's do another one. 20,000. That was, say, for example, if it was a doctor, right? Let's divide 60. Well, I'll say 40. I'm gonna say 40 to be conservative. 500 hours times 40. That gives you 20,000 a week. I've divided that into 40, so after you paid your staff members, you're getting £40 an hour. Isn't that better than, for example, if I was to do 20,000 a week, divide that by me getting £5 profit after I've paid the staff member their wage, for example. So that leaves me with £5. Like I said, I have to do 4,000 hours a week. Isn't it better to do 220 hours a week or 400 hours a week than doing 4,000 hours a week? Do you get what I'm saying here? This is a game changer. And I wish that I started off doing that. But I'm glad, I don't regret any of my journey that I've been through, because this has brought me where I am today, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful to God for giving me the strength to do what I've done. But in 2024, we don't need to do this anymore. Care providers, we need to not do this, because we're taking time away from us. And our time is valuable, isn't it? Time that you can spend with your loved ones. Time that you can spend with your friends. Time you can spend. This is live. This is live. It's real. These things happen. So I wanted to touch base with all of you to say, would you rather do 4,000 hours a week, or would you rather do 222 hours a week, or would you rather do 400 hours a week? You get to choose. You get to choose. Comment in the chat 200 hours a week. Comment in the chat 400 hours a week. Comment in the chat 4,000 hours a week. Which one would you prefer to do? Because it takes just as long to find staff members at the higher level as it is for the lower value contracts. Doesn't it? Would you rather do 4,000 hours, or would you rather do 200 or 400 hours? You can get to spend more time with your family or friends, or go on holiday. Your profitability is a lot stronger, and you're not burning yourself out. Don't get me wrong, running a multiple seven-figure business and low value contracts is okay, but leave space for your high profit margins. The better your profit margins are, it's the better. It's a feel-good business. Your business will be good. You will feel good. Your staff will feel good. Your clients will feel good. It fits in with your lifestyle. You're not going to become burnt out. You're going to be happy, rather than running around because you will feel like you're running around like with a headless chicken, where you feel that things are getting overwhelmed. You also have to have more staff members, so that's more demand on your time. When you've got 4,000 hours, I remember my building, my goodness, we had a huge building. It was huge, and we had like loads of staff members in the office, probably about 20 in the office at a minimum. And then we had people in the field, so that it took a lot of time, a lot of stress, a lot of regulations, heavily regulated, understandably. But 2024, we need to get our time back. We were on lockdown for what, 2 years? Almost? We can't get that time back. We experienced being at home. Wasn't that a better way to start thinking and planning? Do you really enjoy getting on the train or getting in your car, and then you'll drive in for an hour, 2 hours to work and driving back. You're spending money on petrol, which is costing a fortune. I know some of you are working, part home and part work, but let's look at what we can do. Let's look at what we can do to get our time, because we've already lost that time already. Yesterday is gone. Let's look at today, and let's plan for getting our time back, because life is short. It really, as you know, it is short. So why not look at that method? Because that is a better method for you to implement. And look at your lifestyle. What would fit in better with your lifestyle? Is it the 200 hours? Is it the 400 hours? Is it the 4,000 hours? Don't you want to enjoy life? Don't you want to go and visit family and friends? Because during lockdown and all of those things, we didn't get to see our family and friends. Isn't it good to try and look at how we can start visiting our loved ones, traveling? And we got a business where 200 hours a week is a lot better, isn't it? Because then it's not going to take so much of your mental capacity. You can have headspace to breathe. Headspace to breathe. Put breathe in the chat, because it's such a good feeling when you do that. And they're self-led because they're highly professional people. Isn't that better for you? So I hope that you found this helpful, all of you, and do join us. Create your application, okay? Put your application form in. Let us know if this is something that you want to join us. It's going to be at the end of March, and it will be on Zoom. It will be a live training. You'll also get a dashboard as well, so that you can watch on demand. I don't want you to miss this opportunity. That's why the price is what it is. But the price is going up after 7 days. We're already getting inquiries already, so I don't want you to miss out. We only have a number of spots available as well. But just think about it. The weekend's here. Listen to this video and start making some notes. Click the button, book an appointment, and talk with myself or my team, for example, and we will gladly talk to you once you've booked your appointment. It will be a telephone call, for example. So I hope that you'll be able to join us. Thank you so much for this fireside chat. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope that you've learned a lot today, and I hope that it's changed your mindset to look at the 2% method. This blueprint is a game changer. You don't want to miss out. So I hope that you can join me. Remember, there's the eagle. The eagle flies high. The eagle's not on the floor like the pigeons, for example. We're working, we're doing the lower value contracts, and everybody is racing for those lower value contracts, those crumbs that we're being given. But yet we can be the eagle, or we can be the hawk, and being high up in the sky and seeing the beauty that is around us, not what's on the ground, but up high. Isn't that what you want? So I hope that you've enjoyed today. Thank you so much. God bless you all. And I will see you all soon. Take care. Thank you. Bye. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Take care. Bye, everyone. Bye.